That's the distress. Yeah, the Distress Fest. It's weird because it's like Bong Ripper's headlining, but like Def Club
Bleach
is like
Cross and...
yeah, Bleach Cross is playing. Fucking Bussy Queen Power Trip is playing, which fucking rules. Death Pose is playing. Mensa's playing. I'm kind of surprised Copper Wire isn't also playing. I don't know a lot of these other bands, except for And His Name Was Epion, which is like a Gundam Screamo band, which is amazing.
Like, their songs are about Gundam?
Yes.
Cool as hell.
I am not at all joking.
Welcome to Noise Floor, a podcast about music and our favorite artists' discographies. I'm Troy Sennett.
And I'm Matt Kistler.
And today our Death Cab For Cutie series continues with their third album, the Photo Album, released in October of 2001 on Barsuk, produced by Chris Walla, their guitarist, as all of their early albums are. And this is an album that, if I remember correctly, neither of us had really had much engagement with prior to this series. Is that right?
I believe I had none. I think I may have heard a movie script ending once. I did not watch The OC as a youngster, so yeah. I did not catch it there.
I don't think I'd heard a note of this record before. And this record is so strange. I think it sits in a very weird place in Death Cab's discography. It is sort of the bridge between the early ephemera period of Death Cab, not even ephemera, but like, you know, the youth period of Death Cab's discography and their breakout. It's kind of neither here nor there, neither this nor that in their discography. And so it's just this lonely little album that is I think some fans really, really love. It is the bridge to them being a mainstream huge band, but it's also kind of forgotten in its way. From what I can gather, I think the band does not have fond memories of it. But what was your first impression then of getting into the Photo Album?
So my first impression was really good, because I like when I do listens, especially for the first time to albums for this show, like I do a mix of like close like lyrics in front of me listens and like just kind of vibes listens like in the car or just like while I'm working. And my first couple listens to this for this were just like kind of in the background, and I'm like, man, all these songs are really catchy. All these songs are really well done. And then like going a little deeper, I had some moments where I was like, yeah, there's a reason that lyric stuck out to me because it's just not good. And like, and like, there's not, I wouldn't say there's a ton of that. But like, not to get too far ahead of ourselves here, but like reading into the background on this record, sounds like the band feels like this was rushed because they just kind of felt like they had to cobble together something to capitalize on the momentum that they had. And like, given that, it's a really strong album in a lot of ways, but it does like there's some dangling stuff where it's like Ben talks about how he's like, I wish I had had more time with this song, that song. And like, you can kind of tell that some of these songs are maybe like, if the band had felt like they had more time, they might have, turned out to be more enduring, I guess is how I'd put it. But what about you? What were your kind of initial impressions here?
Pretty similar to yours, actually. If I have this album on as like a background record or like a halfway listening, doing something else type of album, kind of like you said, I am so into it. I think it rocks. I love how it sounds. The guitar playing in particular is amazing.
Oh yeah.
This version of Death Cab is when they become like a band for me. And the problem then is that when I start digging into the lyrics and listening more closely, and I think two things. One, I think no one has ever been more 24 years old than Ben Gibbard while writing this record.
Sure.
Because there is so much, there's so much like, I'm a sensitive, discerning young artist and writer boy, and I have important things to say about the world, and I can see through the shallowness and the glitz and the glamour to how hollow everything really is on the inside. And there's so much of this record has that attitude, and I just feel like he's such a I mean, he idolizes Kerouac, and he is just this like, I don't know. I think he thinks, I get the impression just from reading the lyrics, and maybe not so much from interviews, but just from reading the lyrics, that he like thinks a lot of himself as a writer and as a thinker, and he just gives me a bad vibe. And,
right.
You know, again, like I said, the most 24 years old anyone has ever been. And the other part of it is like you mentioned, this record was made very quickly and maybe not as fully, they didn't go in as fully prepared as they expected. There's a few factors we should talk about, some context around this record.
Sure.
So first, what we didn't mention last week is they, between, We Have the Facts and the Forbidden Love EP was when they changed drummers and recruited Michael Shore to play drums for them. And so the first thing he plays on is the Forbidden Love EP, which really like is where the momentum really starts to turn for them. That EP gets picked up by like a photo booth, gets picked up by some radio stations, I think, and gets a lot of coverage in like national press.
Yeah, like Spin did a big write up on it that was really positive, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. And so this is the first Death Cab album with Michael Shore. And I mean, to me, that is a big part of why it sounds as much as like a rock album as it does, because this is a full band playing in a studio. This is not just Ben writing songs, playing some drums, you know, laying down a basic drum part, and then Chris Walla building on top of that.
Right.
Like, this is a band playing together, and a band that has been on tour a lot. And you hear that in the songs, I think. This feels like an album that's meant to be played live in a way that the previous couple albums maybe weren't. Yeah.
And Ben mentions in the one of the interviews that they were playing a movie script ending, Why'd You Want to Live Here, and We Laugh Indoors live for a while. So they like had chances to like kind of hone in on like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, see how they felt.
And that those songs were catching the ears of their of new fans, of old fans, of like, oh, what was that song? That's going to be on the new record, right? Yeah. But so then the other thing is, this is the first record they make in a legit recording studio, because around year 2000 is when Chris Walla in concert with Barsuk take over. It was called Reciprocal Recording, and then John and Stu's, this like legendary studio in Seattle where Nirvana recorded Bleach, and like, you know, every other Built to Spill, Modest Mouse, you know, every other Northwest band recorded a record at the studio. And and then this becomes the Hall of Justice, which it still is today, although Chris Walla is no longer involved in it. I think he has sold it and gotten it back and sold it again over the years. But you can make a record there. That Pool Kids record that I recommended not too long ago on this podcast was made there.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So that's one factor, is they have better gear and a more dedicated space at their disposal to make this record. I think that's a good thing. But the final factor that I want to talk about is, you mentioned they wanting to, because they were like building up momentum and like wanting to get a record out to capitalize on that momentum. It sounds like it was even more than that. It was that they had a tour booked and they needed to have a record out to do a national tour. Right. Because there's this whole thing at the time, and even still today, some bands get this, where it's like, you can't, like their label or management or whatever, like, we won't put you out on tour if you don't have a new music to sell. Because at some point you're playing to the same fans who already have all your music. And
exactly.
You want to promotional push together. That tour they did is the Death and Dismemberment tour. Do you know about this tour?
Yeah, the one with Dismemberment Plan. Yeah,
the greatest named tour of all time.
Incredible. Nobody apparently remembers who actually named it that. It might have been Chris. It might have been somebody in Dismemberment Plan. Unclear, lost to history.
Oh, the interview that I saw, I thought it was very specific that Travis Morrison came up with it.
Oh, well, that checks out, honestly. I think I was pulling from a different interview where Ben was like, it might have been Travis, might have been Chris, who knows?
Regardless, the tour that I wish I could have seen, I saw Dismemberment Plan once at Riot Fest, and it was like otherworldly. They're one of the best bands in the world.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah, but like, okay, so all those things together add up to, like I said, and like we both said, the band feeling like these songs are sort of undercooked or maybe too standard in structure, and being made in this tumultuous time. And I liked, Ben at one point said that they learned what they didn't want to do again on this record.
Right. Yeah, honestly, that tracks in a lot of ways. I don't want to sound like I'm too down on this album because I really, really like a lot of these songs, if I'm real honest.
I feel the exact same way. I'm going to be down on some of this stuff while at the same time thinking that there's a chance this is my favorite album that we've covered so far.
Yeah, I totally, I get exactly what you feel.
Yeah, and I mean, there's songs on this that are among the best Death Cab songs, not just so far, like in their entire catalog. And there's songs on this that I think are like, pretty rough. So yeah, I mean, it's everywhere, and like just everything about this era of the band is like they're growing faster than they know how to deal with.
Right.
And that's always an interesting time. Ben, again, always talks in interviews about like, he doesn't believe that great art comes from pain, that great art comes from tumult. He's like, our best stuff was made when we were happy, and this was not our best stuff because we were fighting and unsure of ourselves and everything. But like, it still came out with some pretty cool music.
For sure, yeah. And he kind of talks more generally about like, people will come to him and be like, oh, you were so sad during this period of your life. And he's like, no, dude, I'm just like, when I'm sitting in my room alone writing, it's kind of like the moments that you have right before you go to sleep and you can't sleep and you're having all your worst thoughts. Like, it just happens sometimes, man. I don't know.
Did you have that impression of Ben as like sad boy artiste type?
I guess I kind of did, but that's because Death Cab is a band that I've never like dove in on in terms of like reading into the history or like checking out interviews or anything like that. But like from the lyrics alone, I did get that impression a little bit, especially when there were records that did sound like kind of happier, later on in their career. But now I feel way less like that. But again, like you said, he's the most 24 years old anybody has ever been here, and I do kind of believe you on that one.
Right. And like, and I think I totally bought into the stereotype of his writing and his style and stuff, like, which again comes more from transatlanticism and plans and the mainstreamification of emo and all that.
Sure.
But like, yeah, diving into like these older records, I really do feel like this stuff is not all autobiographical. And I think he's, right on by saying that these songs are, they're collections of things. They're not always just, he's writing about other people and stuff like that. So it is kind of blowing up this image that I have and replacing it with both more positive and in some cases more negative thoughts about his writing style, on especially on this album.
For sure. Yeah.
But we should get into the songs unless you have anything else to say generally.
Nah, let's get into it.
Yeah, we covered a lot of there was a lot of context on this one.
There was a lot of context on this one.
I guess you did mention the OC. The OC thing is very important because I also didn't watch that show, but that is like kind of the other big catalyst of how they get from Barsuk to like the biggest band in their genre. But we'll get to it more on Movie Script Ending.
Yeah, exactly.
So the album starts with Steadier Footing, a very quiet sort of intro track. It's got this warbly guitar and vocals, really subtle percussion. Just a short scene-setting track for the album. What do you think of this as an opener?
I think it works pretty well. I like an intro track with substance, and I feel like this is one of those. Like you said, it's a very scene-setting song, and I think it does that job really well. Is it one of my favorite songs on the album? Not really, but I think it pulls off, like, we've been talking about how like some of these songs feel like they're undercooked. I don't feel like this song is undercooked at all. I think it does what it needs to do.
Yeah, again, the Kerouac thing, how much Ben is a fan of him and his writing style, I feel like it comes through as this Ben is short story writer a lot on this record. And this is like one little scene that is basically two characters, and it says so much about them in very few words. And he's getting really good at writing like that.
Definitely, yeah. Like that last little verse that's just like a couple of lines. I let you bum a smoke, you quit this winter past. I've tried twice before. Like it's not like, this isn't like an uncommon image in music in general, nor is it uncommon in music like this. But like, that's like, yeah, you know these people. You know these people very well. Especially if you've made it past your 20s.
Right. And about this mix of regret, but also this like, oh, but what if it did work out? But that it wouldn't. And
Right.
And yeah, these two people just run into each other at a party, and you think like, are they going to rekindle some unrequited love from the past? And no, they're just gonna talk, and they're gonna think about what could have been, and it's sad, but it's also like there's something more to it. I think there's a lot of emotion going on in this song, which is, I feel like there's a depth to it that maybe the previous records didn't have.
I definitely agree with you on that.
This song is referenced by name in the Wonder Years' Summer Clothes. And
oh, that's right. Huh.
There's a lyric that's like, I kind of stumbled through playing steadier footing. And I always wanted to actually hear Soupy cover this song. I think he would do a great cover of it. But I also just think the imagery and the writing style in the song is clearly a huge inspiration on the Wonder Years. And so it was nice to see a little of that in this record, because I think I would not be surprised if this was Soupy's favorite Death Cab album. I should ask him sometime if I meet him again.
Yeah, I would be very curious to know, and also would not be surprised if that's the case.
Yeah. Then after that is movie script ending, where the album truly kicks off. This is a very important song in the Death Cab discography. Their first charting single, the song that, as we mentioned a minute ago, had a placement in the OC and really introduces Death Cab to a huge wider audience.
Yeah, it's and it, like, unsurprising that this is the one that people were asking about after shows. This is the one that got all the plays. Like, I feel like I've been singing the melody to the little highway part in this song constantly in my head for a week now. And I don't think it's going to go away anytime soon.
I think that is the problem with this song, is the repeated highway thing is just I just don't really like it.
Fair.
This kind of like, okay, so I'm going to, jump forward a little bit in the discography to Gold Rush, a song that also has a repeated phrase in it that kind of goes throughout the song. And that's a song that I think a lot of people find annoying. I feel pretty similarly about this one, and also about We Laugh Indoors, actually. These like just
damn
endlessly repeated choruses that I don't know. I never like that in a song, and I feel like these are two like sort of offenders right in a row. So I not getting this record off to the greatest start with that chorus for me.
Do you feel like part of the problem on this specifically is that it's detracting from like really deeply personal thing about going back to where you're from and like idealizing it a little bit? Because that's like this song is about going back to like Bellingham and like seeing the ways in which it has and hasn't changed, as far as I can tell.
Oh yeah, totally. I love what this song is about.
Yeah.
I love this. Yeah, it is an ode to a place, and a place where they grew up, a place where they, where all the members of this band have like a profound connection to. And it's a song. I mean, my favorite theme in music or in writing is like, how does a place change you? How do you change a place by being there or by leaving there? And the question of even the bridge is like, I feel like what's the line? We all know the words were true in the sappiest songs. Like, I feel like that's referencing the idea that you can't go home again, but you want to, and you wonder if you can, or go back to the way you were, and it just nags at you. And I feel like I love the little like descending, is it out of key chord progression at the end of that bridge? The you can't begin to get it back.
Oh yeah,
stuff like that just makes the song work so well. And I think you're right. I think the highway thing is, it's almost too catchy with not enough substance, if that makes sense.
I can see what you mean. I like it personally, but yeah, that's the thing, is I'm not sure if I can separate it being like caught in my head all the time with me liking it. But I'm going to say basically the same thing about We Laugh Indoors in a minute here. So I feel like I got to defend it a little bit. But yeah, I definitely agree. Like I think one of the big highlights of the song is that like descending vocal melody that's happening during that bridge. Like that's like some peak Death Cab shit right there.
This is not an undercooked song. If I think of the ones that Ben is referring to. Did you watch the music video?
I did, and it almost gave me a headache.
Yeah, there's extremely choppily edited footage of like a couple hanging out and not breaking up, I think, but like leaving at an airport. it's so of its time.
It's very of its time, and like I feel like I get the aesthetic that they were going for. It's just like literally you took video of these people and then you just removed like 3/4 of the frames from the video, and it hurts my actual eyes to look at.
I had to refresh my browser a couple times to make sure I wasn't getting a playback error.
That was the thing, is I was like, is this intentional? And then the funniest thing about that video on the Death Cab official channel is that it says the song is from Transatlanticism. Yes, exactly.
Yep. Yeah, I noticed that too.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, obviously a hugely important song to the band and to the fandom. I don't want to take too much away from that. I just don't like the chorus very much.
That's valid. That's valid.
Yeah, and then like you said, We Laugh Indoors is doing kind of a similar thing. In a lot of ways, it is once again a song about the idea of your relationship with your city, the place you grew up, and this idea that like this place is changing, either, you know, out from under you or when you leave and come back, like a band on tour obviously does all the time. And once again, it has this repeating chorus thing, this one of this, I loved you, Guinevere, I loved you. And I don't really know what to make of that. I guess just the idea of Guinevere being King Arthur's consort who had an affair, that this idea of like you love a place or a thing or a person, and that person or that place is changing and you just want to hang on to the way things were. I don't know what else to make of that as the song.
I don't think there is much of another reading for that. Yeah, this song is like it insofar that like it is somewhat similar to movie script ending. I forgot the full name of the song and I almost just called it movie script. It both has that repeated chorus. It's a way worse offender on that front, I will give you that. But it also has a bridge that like really brings the song together, and sounds like none of the rest of the song. Yeah, I guess Chris was like really trying to push Ben to get like really aggressive on that bridge, and part of me is like, man, I wish he'd gone just a little harder, because the instruments are like really like digging into it, and like the vocals start really digging into it, and then like we kind of come back into, you know, like kind of the song as is, and then the ending is like real serene, but like that bridge is just like kind of top notch in a lot of ways.
I mean, he must be like singing into a megaphone or something for a big part of it, right?
I think you might be right. But I don't know. Like we were talking, I sent you a message saying that like I was talking with Amanda Lee in the car while this song was playing, and I was like, if I had heard this in 2001, this Death Cab might have become my favorite band immediately. Like, I don't know. My life might have been completely different. Because this song just does rock in that way. I don't know how annoyed or not annoyed I would have been by the chorus at that point in my life. Maybe a little bit, but we'll never know.
Yeah, I feel basically the same way, that like this song to a degree, but then other songs later on the record, I just know that I would have listened to nothing but this album for months at a time in high school if I had heard it. It's amazing that I didn't hear it then.
Straight up. The other funny thing, so I guess there hasn't been a funny thing so far, but the funny thing that I pulled out of the interviews was Ben, or no, it was I think it was Ben who mentioned the drum beat is the same as the drum beat from "Don't Lose My Number" by Phil Collins.
They would work that into live shows.
Yeah, Chris would just like hum the melody to the like guitar line, like just off to the side during shows and stuff. I found that very, very funny, and I'm never going to unhear that now.
Yeah. After that is Information Travels Faster. Very cool arrangement, I think, at the beginning of the song, the way that it uses the piano along with the beat and the guitar riffs here. This song, I guess, feels like just a sort of a lament about the way that the world has sped up because of modern communication, but at the same time, it's not romanticizing the past so much, because people also gossiped and fought and everything in the past, just through different mediums.
Yeah, that's kind of the read I have on it, is that like it's always been kind of bad on that front, but it's gotten worse because we just, information travels faster in the modern age, like he says many times on this song.
Yeah. I love that you're in debt and completely fooled, that you can look into the mirror and objectively rank your wounds. That feels like such a prescient assessment of like what was just about to explode with the MySpace era.
Definitely, yeah. The one thing I don't like about that verse is all of the other words in it. Here's the kicker for the whole shebang. Like that, when Ben talks about Undercooked's lyrics, I'm like, you had a great 2/3 of a chorus or of a verse here, and I really don't know how you didn't do a little more polish on the first few words.
So,
it's fine.
I mean,
it's not that
this
bad.
entire song had a polishing job done on it, because in the bonus tracks there's a version with a completely different set of lyrics minus the chorus. Did you like, how did you feel about that as a did you like one better than the other? Do you feel like it improved from the demo?
I don't know if it improved. Well, okay. Lyrically, I don't know if it improved from the demo. I feel like more could have been taken from that demo and like used here. That said, like in terms of like arrangement and polish on like the instruments, like this song is like incredibly well crafted, like from a production standpoint. Like I love a lot of things about it, like namely the way that the piano like doubles the vocals in the like chorus. Like just the way everything blends is so like really like tasteful and well done.
It's beautiful.
It's truly beautiful. Like my last note on this is this song sounds great, but like just I don't know, the lyrics in the final version don't really do it for me. I don't know if the lyrics in the demo do it much better, but like I don't know. This is one of my less enjoyed songs on this record, despite like how much potential I see in it.
Agreed. I think the lyrics on the album version are more focused and more honed in on a theme. But I agree that it doesn't come out near the top of my favorites on this record.
Yeah.
After that is Why You'd Want to Live Here, a song that I think musically is like one of the best songs on the record, lyrically one of the worst.
I definitely agree with you on all of that.
This song it's got this like free associative writing style and a lot of pretty basic wordplay. This just feels like, I mean, they mentioned in interviews, I think Ben said at one point that like, we went into the studio with 8.5 songs to make a 10-song record. And this just feels, this is one of the most indicative of like, I don't know what to write about. So I'm just going to walk around LA, a place that I clearly hate and clearly think is just vapid and shallow. And I'm going to write about all the things I hate about it and eviscerate it for 5 minutes, but not say anything that interesting about it. And just come off looking, like I said, like this 24-year-old writer type who wants to be profound.
Yeah. And like, I understand that some of this is driven by the fact that LA was very different in like the 90s and early 2000s.
Sure. And I'm not discounting the cultural differences between Seattle or Seattle suburbs and LA. Like that is all real and like maybe worth writing about. I just don't think it's done very well here. That's
the thing is like, I understand the impulse to like want to talk about that, but like, yeah, like you said, like there's nothing. Ben, we'll talk later in a couple of songs here, honestly, about some really, really incredible imagery on this album. This ain't it at all. This is like we've talked before about like kind of the like 1 degree of abstraction from the thing you're actually trying to say, and this feels like kind of one of the worst offenders of that. Like the freeway's always creeping even when the population's sleeping. Like, come on, man. Yeah, there's a lot of traffic in LA. I get it. Like, fuck.
Like I said, there's no image, no line idea or anything in this song that, except for maybe I kept my receipt from when they weighed me on the way out, is the only image I'm like, oh, what is that? But I think it's just a literal thing that I just don't know that much about, as opposed to here's an idea that I want to dig into more.
Right.
I do the one line in the song that I think the other line in the song that stands out to me as something that is maybe not like a great lyric, but like an interesting image to put in a song is the motion picture actors' houses maps are never ever current, so save your film in $15. I kind of like that.
That feels like kind of fun and cheeky in a way that I think the rest of this song could stand to be if we're like really just gonna hate on LA for 5 minutes.
Right, yeah.
I also wrote that down as a standout lyric in a positive way. That said, man, is this the city of angels or demons is one of the worst lines Ben Gibbard has ever written or ever will write.
Yeah, it's not good.
But yeah, like some other ones that I don't like are, and the Greyhounds keep coming, dumping locusts into the streets. Come on, man.
Yeah.
And then there's, yeah, I don't know.
It's a hat on a hat.
It's a hat on a hat for sure. But anyway, this song, it could have been so much better with completely different lyrics, I think.
Right. And like I said, musically, I think it's awesome. I love the band. Everything the band is doing on this song is what I want to hear Death Cab doing. Yeah, I just wish the lyrics were better.
Yeah, same.
Then we got Blacking Out the Friction, a song that I first heard as a cover by Spanish Love Songs a few years ago.
Oh, shit.
Really like that version of the song. Yeah, they actually put that one out on streaming. It was one of their Patreon, like monthly Patreon covers they would do. But that one I believe is out. Actually, I think it might have even been out on not on a 7-inch, but like on a single release with a single from No Joy.
Okay.
I think this song is great. This is a song that
Ben do too.
Consistently in interviews has said that he felt like was unfinished, basically on the album. But it's just this. It's short, yeah, but it's this nice little examination of, I feel like, a response even to the theme of escape that we talked about on Facts, and even maybe a response to Why Do You Want to Live Here in a way too. This idea that I think it's what's the verse? I think it's brainless to assume that making changes to your Windows view will give you a new perspective. I think that's an interesting lyric, an interesting idea for Ben to explore here.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, I also like kind of caught this as a this feels like this has to come after Why You'd Want to Live Here, because it brings you to a spot where like you are defending your own like place of origin or place you want to be. Right out the gate, I don't mind the weather. I've got scarves and caps and sweaters. I've got long johns under slacks for blustery days. Like, anybody from a place where it gets cold knows exactly what that's all about. But yeah, like, the one chorus that we get, quote unquote chorus, like it's not repeated. So is it a chorus? Who can say? Like the I don't mind restrictions, or if you're blacking out the friction, like that's a really great couplet. And then like, yeah, we get into this. It's just an escape. It's overrated anyways. Like the ways in which you like maybe dull your experience to like justify like the things that you do or don't do. Like it feels like he's doing a lot with a little here. And I think that's a thing that like Ben ultimately gets very good at, but like is showing like a lot of promise in songs like this.
Totally. Yeah. It's just so funny that this is like the last song I expected him to say felt undercooked on this record. Cause I always felt like this one, every listen was like, oh, this one is just kind of a perfect little piece of writing.
Yeah, exactly.
After that is I Was a Kaleidoscope. This is the one that as I was listening to it, I was like, this would have been my very favorite song in the world if I'd heard it when I was 15. I just, the entire sense of like isolation and being misunderstood and tying that to these images of winter, of what feels like a very Midwestern winter, although I'm sure it's obviously a Northeastern winter.
Sure.
Or Northwestern winter. And just the guitar riff, everything about it, like a Morse code message that was sent from me to me. That's a heck of a line.
Yeah. Like this whole song, like this is, I think this is like the most canonical Death Cab song on this record. Like in terms of like,
I think the next song it might have this one on it, but
okay, that's fair. That's fair. I guess when I think like I get canonical's maybe not the right word. This is a very Death Cab song. Like when I think of Death Cab, I think of yes, I do think of a song like the next song we're going to talk about, but I also think about songs that sound like this. But like, yeah, I don't know that that chorus couplet of "I was a kaleidoscope, snow on my lenses distorting the image," like that's the good like image building that we were talking about on the last episode that like Ben was really starting to get good at with Facts.
That it's a little weird, a little off kilter, but it's not so like it's not off-putting, and it's not so obscuring of the idea of the song like some of the Something About Airplanes lyrics are.
Exactly. Yeah. It's a like, you know, when Ben was talking in Facts interviews, it's one of those things where he's like, he was talking about how he can clearly see an image of what he's trying to convey in his head. Like, I can definitely see exactly what he's talking about here, even if it is a little off kilter.
Yeah, I kept feeling like this was unlocking like a part of my teenage music fandom that I had forgotten was there. It's a great song. It's really good.
Is. Yeah.
I mean, I guess this was a single. It got a single, like a CD single release, I think.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, no, it's really great. And like, since it was a single on this album, it maybe lives a little bit in the shadow of let's say other singles on this record that involve movie scripts. But you know, I do think it's a really stellar song.
Yeah,
but
it's great.
Yeah.
Then you get Styrofoam Plates, which is, I think, pretty far and away the best song on this record.
It's really good.
It is even more above the rest of this album than Company Calls Epilogue is above the rest of Facts for me. This is a song that is not autobiographical. I think a lot of people probably assume that it is just based on everything else in his writing. But this is a song that Ben wrote after attending a friend's funeral, or a friend's father's funeral, sorry, and getting the impression that the friend's father was not well liked and that people were kind of talking around that at the funeral. And he writes this song that is just this reflection on like a deadbeat father, and it has all of this incredible imagery throughout it, and is just the most heartbreaking thing that I've like ever heard on an album.
Yeah, it's really like this experience clearly like had a profound effect on Ben, because he was talking about how he was like writing this song in the car on the drive from the funeral.
Like notebook in the passenger seat, which is incredible, you know, just that it comes together that fast without even a guitar in hand. That it's one of those things that just, it probably felt like, you know, a song just came from the ether, like Bob Dylan talks about. Like the songs are just there and I find them.
Yeah. Like, and I, you know, I think the like kind of, you know, more simple arrangement on at least towards the beginning of this song, like really highlights like, no, I want you to listen to this story that I am telling you, because it is important, because this is a thing that happens to people, even if it's not me.
Before I get into some of the lyrics and the imagery in this song, you bring up the arrangement sort of serving the song really well. And I think that's the case throughout this record. I feel like Chris Walla's, not that his hand is less obvious on this album, because I think it sounds really good, but he as a producer gets out of himself as a guitarist and the band as performers way a lot more on this album. I don't know if you feel the same way about it.
No, I think I agree with you on that. And I think part of that is a function of, you know, them, you know, having to rush this one out a little bit. But I don't think it's bad necessarily.
I mean, it lets a different side of the band shine.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's a good thing, because I just love how this record sounds. But I mean, there's stuff like the bridge of this record, of the song, the way that it builds on that drum fill and crescendos and goes down and comes back up, and that type of stuff is like, that's what a band can do live. That's not studio trickery.
Yeah. No, like that build is absolutely huge, but like oppressively slow in ways. Like you can feel the tension building as you're like anticipating like everything getting really, really loud, but it takes so long to get there and does like kind of cut back. Like, yeah, it's just really, really great. Yeah, the band is just at like the height of their powers in terms of like conveying the feeling through the music.
Right. Okay. So instead of just reading all the lyrics to the song, which I could do, what do you think is the best line in this song?
Oh God, that's a good question. Because I tried to avoid just copying all the lyrics. So the one that I the one that I have written down is when we all count our blessings and wonder what we're doing here. The end of the second verse.
Yeah.
I think that one maybe stands out the most to me as like in terms of individual lines.
God, it's so good. Yeah, I mean that entire thing of just like this image of going to like a charity church, church charity handout Thanksgiving dinner and having to do that because the father, drank all the rest of the money away. Like, and then still this like when we count all our blessings and still like you still have to try to find something good in the world despite all of this.
Yeah, exactly. Is that your favorite too, or do you have a different one?
No, I really like the opening set of lines about the saltwater film in the jar of your ashes. I threw them into the sea, but a gust blew them backwards and they sting in my eyes. Like it's very on the nose, but it also is just it still works as an image. It's like it's another one of those very short story writer type scene setting moments, but it's just, I don't know. I can't knock it too much, even despite it being, like I said, kind of on the nose. It just really works.
You get an idea of how much of a piece of shit this guy was, even in death. Like,
right.
It's wild to be able to get that out there right out the gate.
Yeah, and then I think to build on that, the final verse is perfect. I mean, just the way that Ben's voice gets kind of lost in the music as he's singing this just truly, I think, like some of the best lyrics he's ever written. But the I won't join in the procession that's speaking their piece using $5 words while praising his integrity. This idea that people are like going out of their way and like over the top in their celebration of this person's life because they know that there was like evil under the surface, and trying to like reconcile those two things, and especially as like not part of the family, as like an outsider in a way at this funeral. I don't know. I just feel so much in the song. It's so good.
Yeah, it really is.
Makes quite a pairing with Sunset Tree.
Yes. Yeah. Hard agree on that one.
Yep. An album we will talk about on this podcast someday, but yes, a lot of very similar feelings going on at the end of that album.
Once we're willing to brave that discography, yeah.
Yep. What a great song. I mean, like I said, truly the highlight of this record. As much as I'll knock the lyrics on a few of these songs, the fact that Ben was capable of writing a song as good as Styrofoam Plates is like everything else I can kind of forgive because for a song that good.
Yeah, you know he's got it when he has the time to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then after that is Coney Island, which I think of as a bit of a sister song to Why Do You Want to Live Here, in that it's another like assessment of the modern decay and hollowness of a place that's very touristy and very has this a lot of surface level appeal to people. I don't know, what do you think of this one as like a penultimate track?
I really like this song. I feel I had not really thought about it as like a, I mean, I guess I caught a little bit of the like kind of critique of I guess the East Coast in this case. But I really like, I kind of liked getting to sit in this imagery of like the very specific situation of being in a closed down theme park, like at night, or amusement park, not theme park, at night, like just by the Atlantic Ocean. Like that's just like, that's some serene shit right there. And I really like that image. But then, yeah, you get to the, Brooklyn will fill the beach eventually. Everyone will go except me. And it's like, oh, yeah, okay, you don't really want to be here right now. Or maybe you do want to be here right now, just not later.
Yeah, it's got a little bit of that, like, lonely, angry kid working through something energy to it.
Yeah, yeah.
This is the song that changed the most from the demo.
Yeah, because it was like a Neil Young-ish, like, slide guitar type thing before, right?
There's a lot of slide guitar on it. The album version, I think, is much better than the demo. They really improved that one by, I mean, Ben talks about it as, like, I brought this to the band as something that did not really feel like a Death Cab song, and it through the filter of Chris and Nick and Michael that it becomes a Death Cab song and comes out probably better on the other end for it. But it is an interesting demo to listen to of all the demos that are available for this album.
For sure, yeah.
And then the closing track, Debate Exposes Doubt, is just a little slice of life story that sort of gives the album, or at least the character, the persona, the sense of like clarity and understanding at the end of the record. Maybe not my favorite song on this record. Certainly not my favorite song on this record. Probably not my favorite Death Cab closing track.
No,
but it works well enough.
Yeah, it's fine. Like the extended instrumental outro, like kind of brings it together a little bit. I don't know if lyrically I feel like this like fully like brings the album to a close, but again, like with many things, I'm not sure where else I would put it on this record. But yeah, I don't know.
So I think the final verse has very different lyrics in the demo that I actually think kind of work a little bit better. But the other thing is the second verse of the song, or the second stanza, or whatever it is, like it's not really a traditionally structured song in that sense.
Sure, yeah.
But this is another one of those, like, you know, I'm a young writer and I see how things really are attitude type things, where he's like, he sees what I assume is like a celebrity couple coming into this cafe that he's sitting in, and this like, I tried to choke my stare at the perfection that others would kill for, but all the parts are the same on every face. This idea that like, oh, I see that celebrities are just normal people, and you know, it's just one of those things that leaves like not like a bad taste, but just like I roll my eyes a little bit at it.
Yeah. Like it's the fact that it is so obvious what he's going for here, I think, is what lends credence to that. Is like, oh yeah, like I don't feel like I'm being told something profound here. I feel like I'm being told something I already knew, in a way that Ben thinks is profound at this point in his life.
Yeah. So I don't know. It is, for as much as I like this album, or at least aspects of this album, I think it ends the record on a bit of a down note. I do kind of like how the little guitar, or the picked guitar thing at the end, does it end on a note that's just not in the key?
I think so, yeah.
It's kind of cool. Like a little, like the truly final moment of the record is just something that just feels wrong to your ear.
Right.
So I like that. But I think it is, I don't think it brings the album to like the strongest conclusion, especially after like a run of 3 or 4 songs in the middle that I think are top tier.
Yeah, definitely.
Any other general thoughts on the photo album before we get into quite a lot of additional songs?
No, I don't think so. I'm a little baffled that I sat on this for so long, but I appreciate that I was able to come at it from the point I'm at in my life now, rather than 2001, in all honesty.
Yeah, I agree, but I also just kind of wish I had heard it in high school.
Sure, same.
I would have loved it then. I know that. I feel like it would have been like at least a 9 out of 10 for me at that point.
Definitely, yeah.
So getting into quite a lot of other stuff around this record. They kind of like the previous era. They did an EP later in the year, or maybe early the next year, the Stability EP, which has a couple songs that they wrote and abandoned for for photo album. 20th Century Towers is one of them. This really nice kind of like true slowcore song.
Yeah.
That I think actually has some of the self-reflection that I wish was on the album.
Yep.
Yeah. I think this is actually a really good tune. I like it a lot.
I honestly think that the 2 original songs on the Stability EP are like pretty top tier for this era of the band. And especially since they both kind of like hint at that like more slowcore sound. Since I Built You a Tower came out semi recently, like there's been a lot of just promotional stuff going on, like the What's in My Bags and the like 5 albums that made me type things. And Ben is like kind of regularly talking about Spiderland and how like, I forget which song specifically it is on that record from Slint. But he's like, at the time it was the slowest and most beautiful thing I had ever heard in my life. And then I realized it was made by a bunch of children. And that is just still amazing to me. And I'm like, I can see the influence of that album and in particular that song on these songs here. Bjork cover notwithstanding.
Right. And the Bjork cover is cool. I don't know the original song, but I like this version of it. And Stability, like they reworked that as the closing track on Plan. So they obviously believe in the song, even if they don't carry the 12.5-minute version of it for it's just the sort of the meat of the song.
Yeah, and ultimately, like elsewhere on the deluxe edition of this album that has pretty much everything from this period, we get an actual demo of Stable Song that's like way closer to what ends up being on Plans.
Yeah. So then, among all the many B-sides and stuff that end up on, like I said, they're all available, and pretty much all of them are on the deluxe edition. Anything you specifically liked, loved, hated, want to call out and talk about?
I mostly wanted to talk about the stuff on Stability. I do like Gridlock Caravans. It's very short, but I think it's nice and punchy. Yeah, I don't, the one weird thing about that song is it does feel like it's building to something and then just like kind of ends, which I think is an interesting way of constructing a song. But I can kind of see why it was like a vinyl only track or something like that, like a Japanese bonus track,
vinyl only. Yeah.
It seems like a weird thing to tack on to the end of the album that is like the only place that you would put a track like that, but I still think it's kind of neat.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it fits thematically with some of the album in the sense that it's like a critique of corporate life or the grind of a commute or whatever it is. And one of those things that just feels like an easy target
Sure.
in that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it more than some of the songs that actually made the record, though.
Sure, I think that's totally fair. Yeah, I don't know. What are your standouts? There's a lot of acoustic stuff here that I think works well because Ben and Chris are good at writing songs and making them into acoustic versions. I don't know.
Yeah, the acoustic versions are all very good. The new mix, not the dub mix, but the new mix of We Laugh Indoors, I think sounds quite good.
It does sound good. Yeah.
I don't know what the story behind that is. I couldn't find anything about it, but like the snare drum sounds like a snare drum, which is nice.
True.
Other than that, I will call out the Coney Island, the reversed version of Coney Island is kind of funny.
I sat there going, is that literally? Yeah, that is what that is. Okay, great.
It is, because at the end of Corny, the outtake, the reversed version, you hear that piano melody played normally, which then is reversed on the album track as the intro.
Yeah,
so I thought
exactly.
That was cool.
Yeah, no, I think that's kind of neat. That dub mix is weird though.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, it's not like it's literally. We talked a lot about how Bright Eyes was influenced by dub back when we did that series. But man, this just feels like it is kind of taking the piss a little bit. And I don't love that. But whatever.
Yeah,
it's fine.
I'm curious about why it was made and what it was used for. Once again, could not find much about it. I wonder if some producer was just like, hey, this would be fun to do.
Maybe.
So maybe someone, some DJ really wanted to use it or something. I would love to know.
Yeah.
But then if you've got the deluxe edition of this, disc 3 is basically the full album demos. We referenced some of the demos, the ones that had significant changes.
Yeah.
From the demo process, the recording process. This is, I think, based on the interviews I read, the second set of demos for this record. The first set being all of Ben's 4-track demos. I wish they would put those out too. Would love to hear all of those. I did see a comment on a Reddit thread that described listening to the demos album as being like a weaker than's version of Death Cab, which I kind of hear and I kind of like.
I kind of hear that.
Yeah. Just in some of the arrangements and stuff feel a little more, and then the production quality is a little more like what the weaker thans were doing around like Left and Leaving. My favorite band of all time. So
right.
But yeah, I mean, the demos are fun to listen to. I think the way they are, the final versions are produced and the way it all comes together, I think is a superior album overall.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But it's neat to hear like a lot of these tracks just kind of, they just kind of sound like raw versions of like what they ultimately ended up doing. And I think that works because like, again, these songs kind of rock in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And you can hear, like I said, you can hear where they did refine stuff, but you can also hear like where maybe they would have wanted to do some more refinement on some of these songs like they talk about.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I mean, just in general, lots of stuff to dig into for a fan of this record or of this band in general on this deluxe edition. As I always say, just release the Dropbox. Show me everything. I want to know how every record was made. I think this stuff is awesome.
Yeah, give me all of that, please.
Yeah. All right, I think that's it on photo album, unless you've got anything else.
No, I don't think so. Wild that I sat on this for 25 years, but you know what? Now we're here, so.
Yep. All right, you got a random recommendation for this week?
I do. I'm going to recommend an EP that I messaged you about as I was listening to it. It's by a band called June, July. It's called A False Warmth. This was just, I was at the bar at a pizza place over the weekend, and I was like, I don't want to talk to people right now, so I'm just going to scroll Reddit, and the emo subreddit had somebody doing self-promotion, and this was the thing they were promoting. I was like, all right, fine, I'll throw this on. And it's a 5-song EP from a screamo band from Germany, and it's pretty well done, I think. It's got a lot of like the hallmarks of like a lot of classic screamo. It's got a song that basically sounds like an early Jimmy Eat World song, but with screaming, so I love that too. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have a lot of like specifics to dive in on this, but like if you're into, you know, your screamo bands where you can't understand the lyrics both because they're screamed and because you don't speak the language, this might be worth checking out. But yeah, the one big thing that people were criticizing about this record was that the album cover has the name of the EP in papyrus, which is a choice.
Hey, if it's good enough for James Cameron on Avatar, it's good enough for me.
Thank you. Finally, somebody is saying it. But yeah, that's all I got to say about that. If you want a nice little, breezy's the wrong term, but a short screamo EP, I'd check out June, July. What you got, Troy?
There is a new John K. Samson song out this week. Not a thing you can say very often.
No.
So this is what I'm recommending. So John K. Samson, main singer, songwriter of the Weaker Thans, who I mentioned not more than 10 minutes ago, and my favorite songwriter of all time. He does not make much music anymore, but when he does, he releases it under the name Vivat Virtute. And a couple years ago, he put out an EP called June 1st that is just 3 songs that are short, simple acoustic songs. Usually this is what he does now. And they're often about very specific local political causes, which I think, a lot of what he does now revolves around activism in Winnipeg. And this song is no different. The song is called 50/50 Funding, and it is a jingle that he wrote for the Climate Action Team's 50/50 funding campaign for better public transit in Manitoba, which is a wonderful cause. We should have better public transit everywhere. And the song features like a youth choir, and it's just like it's one of those things that you listen to and it's like, I can't believe that this is this good. And this is basically like for like a PSA. He's the best. I cannot say enough good things about John K. Samson, and he gives some causes on the Bandcamp page that you can donate to help this campaign. And like I said, worth seeking out a lot of the other stuff he does. I'll also call out, I know this episode is coming out after Father's Day, but I'm sure you can donate to this at any time. He and his wife, Christine Fellows, do a lot of work for an organization that has incarcerated fathers record reading children's books for their children, and then Christine and John will score the reading of the book and send it as like a CD along with the book to the kids. And it's one of the most beautiful things that I think the causes you can work on.
I really love that a lot. And I was also fully unaware of this track, so I will be checking that out as soon as we are off this call.
Yeah. Always recommending John K. Samson and the Weaker Thans. And like I said, I think a lot of the way he pairs music and activism right now is awesome.
Yeah, that's really, really cool. I love it.
Yeah. So that's my rec for this week.
Hell yeah.
We will be back next week, not talking about Death Cab for Cutie, because next week is going to be our mid-year review. We'll do our top 5 albums of the year so far. And then after that, we'll get back to transatlanticism, but we're going to do a little break to talk about some new records that we love.
Hell yeah.
So yeah. In the meantime, you can find us on the internet at noisefloorpodcast.com, find us on Instagram at noisefloorpod, and send us email at noisefloorpodcast@gmail.com. And we will see you next week.
See you next week.